Well, it's
2006. I don't know.
no, we've been married since 2006, and we met in 2001. How do other people describe Yvonne? They describe her as active, fun-loving, inspirational, and very caring. She has a very pure heart, and loves animals, loves the people that love her, and as a very caring person. That's who she is at a core.
Bob had a little spot on his head that he thought was a mosquito bite because it was itchy. But when I saw it, it had ulcerated and it looked quite not normal. So I suggested that he get it checked out right away.
We had just moved to a new home, and it was located right next to Mosquito Creek in North Van. So I got this bump. I figured it was a mosquito bite, and I absolutely left it on too long, way too long, because I know that mosquito bites do eventually go away, whereas this one just didn't want to do that. So in retrospect, that was a huge mistake on my part, for ignoring it for so long.
Unfortunately, it came back when we got the results, and it was stage 4 melanoma. So we had it removed from his head, and that's when we found out that it was stage 4. And our hopes were pretty dashed, and we kind of went into shock mode and things like that. Just started calling people and trying to do things, and sought more information from different organizations, calling doctors, and basically they said there was nothing to do except just sort of wait and see. And he had to have 2 surgeries because it wasn't removed deep enough from his head. And then Bob kept complaining of these little light headaches, like he felt like he was dizzy all the time, sort of nothing really major, but just tiny bit of dizziness. So we ended up going to our family doctor, and he got a CT scan, and it turned out that they found some tumors in his brain.
Because it was on my scalp, the scalp has a very thin layer of skin, and so it basically went into the bloodstream very, very rapidly.
So they realized that the little skin lesion on his head, the origin, the melanoma on his head, had actually gone straight to his brain. It had spread to his brain. So after that, he was given whole brain radiation. We didn't know, we didn't have any other choices for treatment out there. And so we had like barely any time. We had like 24 hours to make a decision to get this treatment. And his oncologist said that if he didn't get the treatment, he wouldn't probably make it past a year. So our options were treatment or no treatment. And we opted for the whole brain and carried on, went to get that treatment. And then after that, we were told to just go home and wait.
I was not well, especially following the whole brain radiation, and it took a long time in recovery. I was bedridden for quite a few days, and she took care of me. I was at home. I wasn't in the hospital, but she certainly took care of me, and all the while looking in and doing the research that we needed to figure out where we go from here. We knew that whole brain wasn't enough. We were told to just wait and see what the results of that are. We weren't happy with that answer, so we needed to look deeper.
I just started calling and researching, and we had an oncologist. And and we got his name from Save Your Skin Foundation. I came across Save Your Skin Foundation, which was fabulous, and they kept me going with information that I needed and suggestions, who to see, how to go about researching, where things were happening in the US and Canada. I had a letter written by the oncologist saying that Bob may only have a year to live. So I was given 2 months off of my job. And in that time, it gave me the time to concentrate on Bob and to research and to try and find out other options of treatment, because everyone else just said it was whole brain and that's all he could do. And then we found out that that was just palliative care, and we weren't happy with that. Bob turned to me and said, Yvonne, I want to live. And so that really inspired me to get moving, get researching. We started calling the US. We got more information from Save Your Skin Foundation. We flew to a melanoma specialist in Edmonton, and that was really fabulous because basically we bought time.
We were moving ahead. We had no choice. I had to stay alive. So
Bob's had a targeted treatment on the 4 tumors in his brain, and everything halted for we had 2.5 years of just sort of everything back to normal, and our new normal, we always called it our new normal. And trying to grapple with the fact that he'd just come out of being told he only had 6 months to a year lived, to having successful targeted radiation, and then he was able to carry on with his life as we saw as new normal at this time. I would say love, compassion, understanding, patience, and respect. I tried to listen to what his needs and wants were. They were different now. People that have circumstances where they're faced with, medical difficulties are sometimes they need more support and help, and they're not used to that because they're very independent people. So that's an adjustment right there. But you can't feel sorry for them. And I didn't feel sorry for Bob, felt sorry for me. But so, trying to support him and try not to think negatively, and then getting over just needing to live in the present. Like, you have to get past all of that negativity and stop the bad research and all the bad stories, and try to focus on what you're dealing with, as we always called it, our new normal. And working with one thing at a time, one treatment at a time, one doctor at a time, and just trying to get through all of those hurdles.
no, she was always there for me. There was a point in my treatment where I was taking immunotherapy every 3 weeks for 2 years, and she would come with me in a supportive manner. And after a while, it became quite routine, so I was able to go on my own. But initially, it's a pretty scary process. And anytime you enter into something that's new and foreign to us, there's a huge unknown. What are the results of this going to be? How am I going to be impacted? How is our relationship going to be impacted? There's all those kind of mental things that you have to deal with, as well as the physical. Yvonne is the real go-getter in our relationship. So I'm more of a passive character, and what I know for sure, and have always told her and others, is that she saved my life, basically, through her support and her advocacy and all the research that she did. It was a challenge, but Yvonne was always there. We worked through it.
And then they thought it came back. They said that it was growing again. And so that just really scared us. So we were now after having the treatment for 2 years, having some relief, then they thought it came back. So Bob had to go, and they could only resect one tumor of the 4. So he had that removed from his brain, and the treatments have been so new with the melanoma that it turned out that the tumor they thought was growing was actually just dead tissue. And the dead tissue proved that the Gamma knife worked.
And the immunotherapy.
Bob is completely stable. He's been stable for over, 11 years now, since 2012. And we look forward to being able to help others. And that's where I've been an advocate and a caregiver support for other caregivers.
And trying to deliver hope in the case of melanoma, because it's not a very friendly disease. It's something that's life-threatening, and a lot of people don't fully realize the impact of what melanoma is.
I'm volunteering, and I work with Save Your Skin Foundation, and when they have many patients from around the world that contact them. And if the person is going through a similar situation that Bob went through, I'm sometimes called upon to talk to them, take them to doctor appointments, help them out, and try to get appointments if they're not able to. Sometimes their mental health is not able to focus, like they don't have a person in their life to take care of them. And so that would be my role. And I also go on once a month as a caregiver example, and I go on once a month to the Save Your Skin, their fireside chat. And so sometimes it's just nice to have a caregiver perspective. It's very hard as a caregiver sometimes, because you always have to be up, and sometimes the days are not good and you get depressed, and then some days are really high and really low, lots of highs and lots of lows. So you really have to stay kind of stable throughout the whole journey and take care of yourself as much as you can, but be there for that person in any way that you can. If you can't, and some people can't, and that's all right, try to find someone that can take over that role of caregiving, but just somehow be there for that person. Not everyone can be an advocate, and not everyone can be a caregiver. Sometimes there's parts of us that can help them, and parts that, we should not be helping them. So it's okay to build your team, bring other people in if you can't do it, or just have your own support team for yourself and try and give as much as you can for your partner. Anything, valuable in life is worth working hard for, and my husband is.
When I was feeling much better, I found myself helping Yvonne do some of the advocacy work that she was doing. So she was helping other people, and getting a little sad sometimes. So I tried to encourage her that what she's doing is actually helping other people. It does impact you as a caregiver, that the work that you do, because sometimes when you offer advice or offer hope, the recipient of that advice or hope isn't always receptive, and so it can be disheartening to know that you're trying to help somebody, and sometimes they don't want help, which is confusing to us, because we think everybody wants to be like us in terms of wanting to survive. So it takes an emotional toll.
Once Bob was stabilized, I took a lot more time for myself, and I really liked that. And Bob's always been supporting me in what I want to do. So we both respect that we both have a life to live, but we're still there for each other.
Her supportive nature is part of her. She's a great person. I can't say enough. I certainly married the right woman. I'm lucky to have had her as my supportive entity and as my advocate. Um, I've told her many times, and I've told many people this, that I would not be alive today if it were not for her. So she's a huge, important part of my life.
Thank you. We live in the present rather than worry too much about the future. Bob's feeling just fine right now, and I'm fine. So we're just trying to enjoy our life and, you know, help others where we can.